Hello Lightning Leaders, and welcome to another math video. This is going to be the last video in this series I've been doing over the past couple weeks to kind of close this gap between the period of the school really trying to figure out what we were going to do and the start of our new learning, which is going to start on Monday. And what that means is we're going to start moving forward from where we left off in the classroom. So starting Monday, we're going to jump back into our fractions unit, and we're going to be using Zern to do that. So this last math video I'm putting together here, I wanted it to be kind of fun, little fun activity for you. I know a lot of you like to do this skill on IXL, so I thought I'd finally put a little video together for it. So today we are going to talk about Roman numerals. This has been a very popular topic on IXL. I know a lot of you like to work with this one and you're trying to figure it out, and a lot of you have a little cheat sheet written on a sheet of paper in your desk. So I thought it would be fun to talk about it. Now, how this video is going to work is we're going to talk about some of the main characters of Roman numerals, because it's not numbers, they look like letters or characters almost. And then we're going to start talking about how to read these numbers when we start getting into bigger and bigger numbers. So first, let's start talking about what these numbers actually are. And we're going to create a little T-chart here. And on the left, we're going to have the Roman symbol. And on the right, we're going to have the Arabic symbol. Now you're probably wondering, wait, Mr. S, why are we doing Arabic? Because all of our numbers that we use today actually come from the ancient Muslim world. So they are actually Arabic numbers. To start with, we're going to start with the very first number, and that is the number 1. We all know the number 1. Sometimes it looks like this. Sometimes it looks like this. Now, as a Roman numeral, the number 1 looks like this. Looks like the letter I. Now, sometimes it's just written as a tally mark. It's written like this. So sometimes it's written like this, or it's just written like you're used to seeing the number 1. Now, believe it or not, there isn't a symbol for 2, 3, or 4. The very next symbol we have in Roman numerals is 5. And the number 5 looks like this. It's a V. Looks like the letter V. And let me just start dividing this up a little bit here so it's a little nicer to see. Get a little split in there. So now we have I is 1, V is 5. Our next number, or numeral, is actually not 6, it's not 7, it's not 8, it's not 9, it's 10. The number 10. And the number 10 is an X. The number 10 looks like an X. So now we have 1, 5, and 10. And now we're actually going to make a big jump here. And I want to make sure I have enough room for the last few ones here. I have to fit 4 more in here. Oh boy. Let's see if I can fit these 4 in here. 1. All right, we're just going to squeeze it in here. All right. Just to finish off this chart, we're going to talk about 50, 100. Did I skip one? 500, sorry. I skipped 500. 50, 100, 500, and finally 1,000. And using these numbers, we're going to be able to make a whole combination of other numbers. But we got to finish our Roman numeral side here. We got to finish getting our symbols, our characters. So we have I for 1, V for 5, X for 10. Now, if you're a football fan, you're going to know what 50 is. 50 is L. Super Bowl 50, or Super Bowl 49, you saw this L in there. Super Bowl 51, you saw this L in there. It means 50. 100 is the letter C. And one way I like to remember this is that a century is 100 years. It starts with a C. Century, 100, C. Now, 500 is a D. Don't know why. Haven't really thought of a good thing in my head to remember that by. And the last one is 1,000, and that's an M. Now, a millennia is 1,000 years. So we have century as 100 years. Millennia, M, is 1,000 years. So there's a little trick to help you remember. I don't know why they didn't pick D for 10, because 10 years is a decade, but I don't know. This is just how it is. So now, using this chart, we're going to start writing some other numbers. And how Roman numerals work is you start combining these symbols together, and you actually have to do some addition to figure out what the numbers are. And actually, it's kind of funny. I learned how to tell time and Roman numerals with the same thing, because my grandfather had an analog clock in his house, and the numbers on the clock were written in Roman numerals. So I learned 1 through 12 while I was also learning how to tell time. I know, Mr. S, he's crazy, math person. You know how it goes. All right, so I'm going to erase this chart we have here. Remember, if you need to see this chart at any time, you can always go back in the video and pause it. So now, let's start identifying some numbers. And like I was saying, with Roman numerals, you have to add the symbols together to get the number. So for example, the number 3 is I. That equals 3. Sometimes you see it written like this, and sometimes they put these lines through it to make it look all fancy and stuff like that. Now, the number 4 is a little different, because we actually have to do some subtraction. Now, this is me being a history nerd, and information that you might find interesting or not. The Romans sometimes would write 4 like this. They would just do 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. But we really don't see that anymore today. The way 4 is actually written now is 1 before 5. That's how we would read this. 1 before 5. So if you ever see a lower number in front of a higher number, you have to subtract it from the front, from the higher number. Kind of crazy, right? Who knew Roman numerals would be so difficult? So for example, if this is 4, if I want to write 40, I could write X, 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 X. But you're not going to see that. What you're going to see is 10 before 50. XL. That equals 40. And you can go on and on and on like this. If you wanted to write 400, you could write C, 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 C. But instead, you're going to see 100 before 500, right? Some crazy, tricky stuff. So now, if I wanted to write today's date in Roman numerals, it would look something like this. Today is April 17th, so I would do 10, 5, 2. Oh, it kind of doesn't go there. Today is April 17th, 2020. So I need 1,000, 2,000, 10, 20. So that is what our year would look like or our date would look like in Roman numerals. Today is April 17th, 2020. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a cut in the video here, and I'm going to write a whole bunch of random numbers in Roman numerals up on the board. And we're going to work together to try to figure them out. And then I'm going to put another cut in the video and put some new numbers up there, and it'll be your job to try to figure out what the numbers are saying. Be right back. All right, Lightning Leaders, welcome back. So I wrote up a whole bunch of Roman numerals up on the screen here, and we're going to try to convert them into the numbers that we know and use today. Let's look at this first one. We have CLI. All right, let's think back to our chart. C is 100, L is 50, I is 1. So 100 plus 50 plus 1. Let's look at the next one. CCX CIV. Okay. We know that C is 100. We know that X is 10. Oh, but C is 100. So we have a smaller number before a bigger number, which means that we have to look at this as one number. And then again, I and V, we have to look at this as one number. So if we start with CC, that's 200, because 100 plus 100 is 200. Now I have XC, 10 before 100. 100 minus 10 is 90. And then I have 1 before 5. 5 minus 4, 5 minus 1 is 4. So this number, CCXCIV, is 294. Tricky stuff. They threw a double subtraction in there. All right. Let's look at the next number. 10, 10, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So it goes down from biggest to smallest. We don't have to do any subtraction. We just got to add them up. 10 plus 10 is 20, plus 1 is 21, plus 1 is 22, plus 1 is 23. Let's look at this next one. This one should be familiar. It came from one of the Super Bowls. 1055. Oh, okay. 10 before 50. So 50 minus 10, which is 40. So these go together as one digit. And then we have our 5. It equals 45. Now our last one here. Let's see. 100, 150, 10, 1. All right, so we're going from greatest to least. We don't have to do any subtraction. We just have to add them together. 100, 200, 250, 260, 261. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put another cut in the video, put some other ones up on the screen here for you to figure out, and I'm going to put a challenge question at the very end. Be right back. All right, Lightning Leaders, I have put up some new questions on the board for you to try to figure out yourself. I've also added a challenge question at the bottom. It's an addition sentence. So not only do you have to figure out what those numbers are, then you got to add them together. If you want to give yourself an even bigger challenge, you could try to write the answer as a Roman numeral as well. I hope you enjoy this little Roman numerals activity. I had fun putting it together. Now, if this is something that you're really, really struggling with, don't pick this video as the one to respond to. There's the telling time video and the math properties video that you can do instead, and that stuff we've definitely done. This is just something fun I wanted to do and put together for a Friday thing. I hope you guys all have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next time.